Maintaining logins with NAV Easy Security is a lot simpler than standard NAV. You need to normally maintain a lot of records if you have to deal with companies and multiple roles also. We allow you to create groups of roles, and you can assign those instead of single roles. So a lot of times you have a group more like a job description, and many users will really only have one access control to maintain. Same way we can do about companies. We can actually maintain companies very simple also by using groups also. We can have permission as user ID. So when you have multiple users working in the warehouse, you really only have to maintain one of them. Rest of them will just have the same permission. And if you change the first one, it will update all the other ones. We can also control expiry, both on individual access controls, but also on the complete login entry. And then we have an easy way of moving your existing security into security that is controlled by company, for example, when you installing Easy Security the first time. But let's take a look at it instead in here. And I have a demo database for Easy Security in here. If I take a look at logins in here, we have all the logins in here. We have a lot of information. So if I click on Susan, for example, down here, I can see she has a group sales and something also called summary permission that I will get back to in here. If we take a look at Simon, for example, down here, Simon has no permission. And if he was a new user, I can just go in and say, yeah, Simon needs to have the exact same permission as Susan in here. So I really don't have to do anything else except point at the other user that is like that person. If we take a look at John, I can set up security for John down here. And we can use roles as you used to, and that's actually how Easy Security convert your existing data. But we can also use groups in here. And with Easy Security is some demo data. We have finance manager, and so on. If John works in the finance department, I can use this group of roles in here. And let's just take a look at it. It's using all the new roles included with Easy Security in here. The tech login to allow people to get into NAV. The all free that gives them access to execute most objects except the one we don't allow. A role center that is a bookkeeper. And then all the tasks that the user actually is supposed to be doing in here inside the NAV at this point. So we really only need one role because that's, or role group, because that's all that John is actually doing. When we get to companies, if you have multiple companies in the database, a lot of times you have users that need access to most of them, except a few or maybe only a single one where you have consolidation in. In the case with Easy Security, you typically don't want normal users to have access to that in here either. What I can see down here, I created a group called Operations, and it's Kronos Europe and North America in here. If I later on added another company, I could just add it to the group, and it would actually apply to all the users. It's of course useful when adding companies, but it's also very useful in a test environment where you restore a new company once in a while from the production database. You can just add it to the group, and all the users that are supposed to have access to that restored company will then get it after you publish it. But let's just go ahead and select that operations company in here. This one really looks like I only have one single line of permission, but if I update my login, I would see to work with this one normally, I would need to maintain 32 individual records in here. That's of course a combination of roles and companies in here. We also get something that is called summary permission. And that basically means it's the permissions by table for the total information in here. So I can see in here for most of the finance, customer ledger, GL ledger, here reads, indirect insert, indirect modify, based on this string in here, compressing all these option fields out here. But when I get down to the sales area, there's no insert on invoices or shipments. So I'm totally sure that John is not going to post anything in the sales side because he really don't have the access for it. But he can post anything from journals in here because he has all these permissions in here. These summary permissions can easily be added for additional tables if you want to see those ones also. Auditors are typically interested in this information and not in all the details about roles and companies inside NAV, for example. One thing that also happens a lot over time is like somebody goes on vacation and somebody needs to be doing that job. So normally you would just add the new permissions, and let's say that John needs to be the finance manager in here inside the Kronos North America company. And when you add that one, whenever the finance manager come back again from vacation, you need to remember to take it away. You don't need to do that with Easy Security. You can actually put an expiry date on it. So I can put it here to the end of May, and then after that, there won't be any more permissions in here. Running inside a Kronos company in here. So let's just say that we actually want to give him this permission until the 1st of December in here. So then we don't have an issue with this one. So at that time, we can actually put an expiry in here to actually limit how long a permission is. And right now, if I update my login, I had 32 access controls before. Now I have 40 in here, and I have a different number of summary permission, of course, also in here, depending on what company it is. So this allows a very simple way of maintaining the access controls for users. The exact same function about expiry actually exists on the user itself. The only thing that will happen when expiry comes is that this field gets checked in here. And as it gets checked, that line is not active any longer. That's also a good way of updating security. So if you go in and say, I have a lot of roles assigned now I want to set up my new security setup only in here. I can actually check this field for all the old security and only have the new one being active. And if it don't work out well, I can easily get back to my old security in here. So that's a nice way of controlling that one also in here. I'll just uncheck this one again. The last part is an easy way of getting from your current security to using Easy Security in here. And one of the things you can do, you can actually look at access controls across all users in here. And let's just get rid of the one for John in here and the other one. And I can see in here in my database, I really only have 2 permissions with super in here. And I probably don't want to do this one in a real database. But I could actually go in and see anything that used the blank company in here. I want to move those ones and copy them to another one in here. So I'll say that anything that has a blank company, those ones, I want to copy them to another company view. And in my case, it would be operations down here. So it would be all the companies except Easy Security in here. So I can click OK, and it will add 2 new access controls in here for me. And if I get rid of this filter again, I'll see I now have super operations. And I could go in and then say, okay, now I want to get rid of these 2 with a blank company. So that's an easy way if you have hundreds of users that use the blank company to simply assign them a company group that is all companies except Easy Security in here, for example. I'm just going to get rid of these 2 in here because I don't want them here. So, you can, of course, also go in and we have wizards. If we wanted to add from roles under John, we can go in here and say, yeah, we want to add from roles. And I could go in and pick multiple roles in here and say, that's the 4 roles I want. And I don't want it for all companies. I only want it for my Kronos North America or my Kronos Europe and Kronos North America down here. And now, before it adds anything, it confirms how many it actually would like to add. And if I click yes, it will go down here and add all these roles in one single view. time. So you can add multiple roles at the same time. I'm just going to get rid of these ones. That's really all the features for maintaining logins. It really cuts down on the amount of time and errors you spend on this one. The expiry prevents a lot of mistakes where people over time will get more permission simply because there's not a good way of knowing what to take away again. And you can easily upgrade your existing access controls to what is being used with Easy Security.